Happening now, what local leaders say residents need to do to avoid another COVID-19 shutdown. Plus, winter sports deemed high risk remained on hold for now.
Well, the snow has stopped and we're actually going to see some peaks of sunshine later this afternoon, and the temperatures are going to start warming up from here. I'll tell you about it in detail next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Local leaders do not expect to see another COVID-19 related shutdown in the near future, as long as residents continue to follow health guidelines. During a COVID-19 town hall yesterday afternoon, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell announced there are no zip codes in the county that currently qualify for a yellow zone status, that a warning flag implemented by the state. Public Health Director Christine Schuyler says it's important to stay vigilant and follow safety guidelines in order to avoid qualifying for the enhanced status.
I think it's important for people to understand that many of the clusters that we are currently seeing are family members. They're people who live either within the same households or are in an extended family who have either been together at various gatherings, or we have a few cases now of weddings that have spread COVID-19 like crazy through families, and some people being very ill. So this comes back again to that personal responsibility and accountability and taking care of yourselves and your loved ones.
Now, Schuyler goes back to recommendations like wearing masks, social distancing, and cleaning surfaces regularly. She says residents shouldn't become lax with those recommendations because if they do, it could jeopardize the area's continuing reopening. Now, ultimately, officials say future shutdowns are at the hands of state leaders who set metrics for the current green, yellow, and red zoning. Viewers can watch the full virtual COVID-19 town hall on our website right now at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Well, 2 more deaths connected to COVID-19 were reported in Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties yesterday. A 90-year-old man in Chautauqua County and a 77-year-old man in Cattaraugus, both who health department staff say had pre-existing conditions, died following a fight with the virus. This is the 16th reported death in Chautauqua County and 23rd in Cattaraugus County since the outbreak started. Additionally, 31 new cases of the virus were reported in Chautauqua County and 52 new cases in Cattaraugus, the highest single-day record since the pandemic started. Now, there are several people hospitalized in Chautauqua County, and 7 people hospitalized in Chautauqua County and 14 in Cattaraugus because of the virus. Well, health experts and government officials are warning people here in the U.S. to not get together with people from other households for the holidays as coronavirus cases and hospitalizations begin to tick up. But thousands of college students will be headed back home this weekend for Thanksgiving break. Karen Kafa explains what some officials are hoping to do to mitigate the risk.
Whether virtual learning or in-person classes, many college students flock back to campus for the fall semester. Now it's time for them to go back home during the worst coronavirus spike this country has seen. Some states like Connecticut are issuing guidelines for those coming back home from out of state.
1, a 14-day quarantine, either before you leave or after you come back. 2, get tested. Again, for the elderly, those most at risk, keep your distance, wear your mask, tell your grandparents from a distance how much you love them.
Governor Ned Lamont says while they can't enforce these quarantine guidelines, they are hoping residents will use their good judgment. The University of Arizona is offering COVID tests to students and staff from November 9th through November 25th before they head home. And after Thanksgiving, classes will transition to fully online until the spring.
We will, though, have mandatory testing on return to campus for the spring term.
Some schools like Arizona State University and New Mexico State University are among those that decided to cancel in-person classes after Thanksgiving due to the fall surge. Many others had already planned to have fall semester end early to avoid back and forth travel. And with many new travel advisories and restrictions in place, officials are advising those traveling between states to look up any new guidelines or procedures. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Karen, thank you. Here in New York State, SUNY and CUNY schools are making sure all students test negative for COVID-19 before returning home. Once there, many schools are switching to virtual learning for the remaining of the semester. Students would have to quarantine before returning for the spring semester. Well, the tentative start date for high-risk winter sports has been moved again for New York high schools, this time to early January. The New York State Public High School Athletic Association announced that yesterday basketball, ice hockey, wrestling, and competitive cheer will now be able to start January 4th. That contingent upon authorization from state health officials. Now, those sports were originally scheduled to start in mid-November, and the date was pushed back to the end of November because of the pandemic. Now, association leaders say schools had expressed concerns pertaining to the increase in COVID rates. Low and moderate risk winter sports, which include bowling, gymnastics, indoor track and field, skiing, swimming, and diving, are still scheduled to begin on November 30th. The Athletic Association is proposing a prohibition on teams traveling to outside of the state or hosting teams from other states. They're also proposing limiting high school athletics from participating with other teams other than their high school team. Well, we thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now as we all continue to navigate through this new world that we're in. And I think that the biggest thing, especially when we hear, and we'll talk about this coming up with the vaccines, that it does give some hope to some people, but a lot of people still very weary about all of that. So we'll have much more on developments there coming up in just a bit. But first, let's check in with the comments and see what everyone is talking about today. Good to see Melissa, Michael, Raymond, Kathy, Patrick, Jacob, Beth, Joanna. Thanks so much for joining us today. Good to see Tim, Tyler, and Joseph. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments down below, and what you're doing. Just say hi if you have nothing else to say. We love connecting with you. Speaking of connecting, let's now go to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's standing by with a first look at our weather. And Dakota, just like yesterday, we woke up to more snow. I had to shovel off my car this morning, and you know what, though? It wasn't too bad. The drive was nice. You know, there's a little bit of sun peeking through in some areas, so I mean, it is November.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like the temperatures we had, last week and a couple weeks ago where we actually had those warmer temperatures, we should not be that warm. This is what November should be like, especially late November. This is a live look coming from the top of the DoubleTree Hotel here in downtown Jamestown. And even though we have mainly overcast skies, we have seen some breaks in the overcast at times. And we've had some more snowfall. That winter weather advisory went until, I think, about 3:30 this morning. And then the Weather Service canceled that as the lake effect snow really started to taper off. But 4 inches in Randolph this morning, so this is what Justin woke up to this morning, right around 4 inches, 3.3 in Kennedy, 3.2 in Gary, 2.1 in Ishway. That's in the hills of Cattaraugus County. Cattaraugus, in the town of Cattaraugus, 2 inches also in Little Valley, and at the Jamestown Airport, a ½ inch. So again, snowfall totals were almost in line with what we were expecting, around 3 to 4 inches right on the hills, and that's pretty much where it was. And this is over the past 5 hours. We've had just this little channel of moisture, which was basically extending off Lake Erie and then extending into the northern portion of the southern tier. That's pretty much all tapered off now, and we're going to be left with just a few light lake effect flurries for the afternoon. Otherwise, just partly sunny skies, but mainly overcast with some peaks of sunshine. So there it is in detail. Lake effect snow showers, flurries come to an end. Some peaks of sunshine later this afternoon, but still rather cold. 31 to 38. That's the best we're going to be able to do with that northwest wind averaging about 4 to 10 miles per hour. But we do see a turnaround with some warmer weather on the way. How warm? I'll tell you about it in detail in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, we're looking forward to it. That's the ellipses there with weather. Stay tuned for sure. Thank you. Well, some 20... by January 15th. The move will still leave about 2,500 American troops in each of those countries. It was widely reported on Monday that it looks like I'm having a microphone issue, so we'll see if we can get that back on here. But the Pentagon does say that those troops will be coming home soon. Let's switch in. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Dakota. I'll just take the mic if that's
Hold on.
You can just. You would not believe. I don't know why we're having such a microphone issue. Sorry about that. So I'll just go to the top of the story, and we'll just do it this way then. Good news, especially for many of those Blue Star mothers that we have in our communities. Some 2,500 U.S. troops will soon be back home from Iraq and Afghanistan. Yesterday, the Pentagon announced it will pull them out by January 15th. The move will still leave about 2,500 American troops in each of those countries. Now, it was widely reported on Monday that the pullback was expected, and the Defense Department now says this certainly should not be a surprise.
This is consistent with our established plans and strategic objectives, supported by the American people, and does not equate to a change in U.S. policy or objectives. Moreover, this decision by the President is based on continuous engagement with his National Security Cabinet over the past several months.
But the down draw does come after President Trump's sweeping changes at the Pentagon last week and the firing of the former Defense Secretary, Mark Esper. Now, according to sources familiar with that matter, he wrote a memo before his firing saying that the top chain of command were not on board with those reductions in troops in Afghanistan. Esper and other leaders reportedly believe that the conditions have not been met. Well, back here in New York State, the state intends to offer driver's license with a non-binary gender identity marker of X, but it could take more time than a year before the Department of Motor Vehicles computers will be able to automatically handle that option, state officials said in a court filing this week. Officials made the disclosure in papers filed in a federal court lawsuit that was brought against them by Sander Saba, who's challenging the state's policy of limiting gender identity on licenses to either male or female. Now, Saba is a non-binary transgender who lives in New York City, and they say that the policy is discriminatory. The state recently moved to dismiss that lawsuit against Governor Andrew Cuomo and the DMV commissioner as moot. State lawmakers argued in court papers that officials late last year had begun planning to permit New Yorkers to receive a driver's license that bears an X gender identification marker, although an automated application process would be needed. Now, first, the DMV needs to modify its computer system so it can create an internal license record without a binary gender selection. The agency expects that to happen by December of next year. Well, straight ahead here, more promising news about the future of a COVID-19 vaccine. And later on, we head to Washington, where Congress is slated to get back to work following Election Day. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back. Pfizer will file for emergency authorization for its new coronavirus vaccine with the FDA on Friday. The final analysis of their new vaccine confirms that it's 95% effective with no safety concerns reported. Now, an independent group monitoring the phase 3 clinical trial says that the vaccine even proved effective in higher risk older adults. In the study, 170 patients contracted COVID-19. Nearly all of those, 162 of them, received a placebo. The 95% effectiveness statistic came from only 8 of the thousands of vaccinated patients catching coronavirus. Now, the only side effect reported was fatigue, which was reported in fewer than 4% of patients after a second dose of the vaccine. Well, the state of Georgia is on schedule to finish an audit of the presidential election today and thus certify its vote by Friday. The process only finding minor discrepancies. If that holds, it could confirm projections of Joe Biden flipping that state. And with more certainty of the presidential election, now many are focused on the 2 Senate runoff elections that will determine which party controls the Senate. Camila Burnell has the latest on the race for the White House.
Several GOP senators congratulating Kamala Harris on the Senate floor. But despite the fist pump, Lindsey Graham says he did not congratulate her and instead is siding with the president.
What I'm very concerned about is that if you're going to continue to vote by mail, that we need to know what systems work and what don't.
So far, there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud, including in Georgia, where officials are on track to finish an audit of the presidential election by Wednesday and say they expect results to confirm Biden as the winner.
We don't expect there to be any significant changes in the final vote tally.
And with the presidency already projected, all eyes now on control of the Senate. Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler and Democratic challenger Reverend Raphael Warnock expected to debate on December 6th.
Georgia is on my mind, and healthcare Georgians is on my mind.
I've hit the ground running, delivered for Georgians during the pandemic to bring relief, and also holding people accountable.
Republican Senator David Perdue has declined an invitation to debate. His Democratic challenger John Ossoff likely instead debating an empty podium.
People of Georgia deserve an open debate. They deserve to hear from their senator.
But they will hear from him on TV.
I will not let John Ossoff destroy the American dream.
Ad spending continues to climb in these races, now up to almost $90 million total. I'm Camila Burnell reporting.
Camila, thank you. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives will go back into session today, the first time since the election. The first order of business will be another election to choose if a Speaker of the House and the rest of leadership. Now, Democrats held on to their majority in the House, although Republicans did gain a few seats. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is expected to run for re-election unopposed, although a full vote won't be held until January. In addition to no expected change at the Speaker level, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer and Majority Whip James Clyburn should hold on to their positions. The highest contested position is expected to be for Assistant Speaker. Because of the pandemic, the elections will be conducted virtually for the first time using a video call and an iPhone app. Well, happy birthday, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Mickey and Minnie Mouse both turns 92 years old today. That's right, they share the same birthday, and they made their big debuts in an animated movie, Steamboat Willie, in New York on November 18th of 1928. Now, you can mark the day by watching a cartoon featuring the pair, wearing a classic Mickey Mouse shirt, or visiting Disney maybe. Some fun facts: Mickey and Minnie both have their own stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Walt Disney admitted privately in 1933 that Minnie and Mickey are married, but it's never been official. Their original names were a play on words, actually, and Mickey has a middle name of Theodore. That's pretty cool. Let us know what you think about that and more in the comments down below. And, you know, Dakota, I think right now a lot of people wouldn't mind going to Disney World if they could. Orlando, right?
Yes, exactly.
Who wouldn't mind
and
the
to
warm
commemorate
weather?
the occasion, I may have to take my watch off. But for those who have Apple Watches, one of the most popular watch faces is
the Mickey Mouse
Mickey
watch.
and Minnie
Oh,
Mouse
it's trying to
watch
unlock.
face. So there you go.
There you
See
are.
him tapping his foot?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, does he tap his foot with the seconds?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
See his foot tapping? I don't know if you can see that very well.
I don't know. I don't think it's focusing very well, but
try.
We can
Yeah, there
we
you
see
go.
it.
But
either
it's
way.
the Mickey Mouse watch face. There's also a Minnie Mouse. One is there, and his foot taps along with the seconds. It's one of the most popular watch faces on Apple Watch. So to commemorate the occasion, this is not a product placement, but we'll bill Apple for that. So
it is pretty cool, nevertheless. You know, a lot of it's that type of pop culture, I think, that brings people together from all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be from Arizona, from California, from New York State, Alaska, and you can like Mickey, even other countries too. And I think that's one of the cool things. And you know, today another day to kind of celebrate that. And really, it's amazing how much it does affect people, right? As kids, you grow up and you develop this type of culture, and it sticks with you for a long time. So it's pretty cool.
you know, Mickey Mouse and you know his whole crew, those are cartoon characters that are literally just, you know, they're basically like Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner,
they're
Looney Tunes.
entrenched.
They are like
Yeah.
so iconic, and yet they're never going away. They are going to be here for generations yet to come. And I mean, you know, there's nothing better than a good, like, you know, Disney movie with you know, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse.
Who wouldn't love to spend the rest of the, especially when it's windy and cold and snowy, you can just go in and just snuggle up and get a good flick.
Yes.
So speaking of the wind and the cold, it's been quite the last couple of 48 hours for sure. I always find it interesting. This is like the official second snowfall we were talking about yesterday. But at the end of the day, people still are like, you know, well, here's the snow, here we are. This is life. Welcome to Western New York.
Yep. And
it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, another sign is, you know, Holiday Valley's already turning their snow machines on. So boy, you can tell that. And since we're in November and we've had more accumulating snow, let's talk about the snow history throughout the past 5 years here. So last year we had 7.9 inches of snow here in Jamestown last year. In 2018, we had 32.6 inches of snow just in November alone. And that was just massive lake effect snowstorms that we had. That ranks as the 5th snowiest November ever on record. 2.6 in 2017, 7.7 in 16, and only less than 3/4 of an inch of snow throughout the month of November in 2015. And the most ever was 54 inches back in 1933. And so the snow data for the month here in Jamestown, our snow depth at the airport right now is at 1 inch, and we've had 2.5 inches of snow throughout the month. That's a 1 inch deficit to about where we should be for the season, 2.5 inches, running 1 inch below normal. So the satellite and radar composite shows you we still have that north to northwest wind flow. That is continuing to keep us cooler because that colder air coming in from Canada continues to pour into the northeast. So as long as we have that north to northwest wind, temperatures are not going to warm up at all. 32 in Mayville right now, 35 Dunkirk, 35 Harbor Creek, 30 in Clymer right now, 27 in Olean, and 28 in Randolph. The temperature sensor at the Jamestown airport's gone a little wonky, so that's why nothing is showing up there, and hopefully they'll get that back soon. But as we take a look at what's going on down the road here, the cold air is not going to be lasting very long. That's the good news here. Look at by tomorrow, we're up to 51, 54 on Friday. We start to moderate a little bit as we go into the weekend, 47 and 50. But this frigid air, I mean, you know, this time of the year, it really doesn't last long, and that's the good news. But the other problem is it's going to turn windy once again tomorrow, and these are the future wind gusts coming off FutureScan. By about noon tomorrow, we're looking at wind gusts between 45 to 50 miles per hour. Again, I don't think we're going to see wind gusts to near 65, 70 miles per hour like we had on Sunday, but this is going to become another windy event. I would not be a bit surprised if we see some sort of wind advisory issued later today for tomorrow. The winds will ultimately start to back off a little bit as we go, especially as we go through the afternoon on tomorrow, but it's going to be another breezy day tomorrow, and even more breezier than it has been, but at least the sun will be out, so it'll make it feel a lot warmer out there, which it also will be warmer. So the zone forecast, Lake Erie shoreline, it's renegade flakes with a few mixed sunshine at times, maybe Erie only topping 40 degrees. Now the inland areas here, it's going to be cold with a capital C, partly sunny with a flurry. Maybe Jamestown may only top at 34 degrees. Now the future, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny, 51 tomorrow, 54 on Friday. Again, tomorrow it turns very windy as well. Wind gusts possibly up to 50 in some spots. Take a look at the weekend, 47 on Saturday, best weekend day. A few showers on Sunday, 50. A better chance for showers will be likely on Monday. And then on Tuesday, temperatures moderate to almost around where they should be for this time of the year in the mid-40s. We will take a break and be right back, so don't you get up and touch that dial.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Not tomorrow, but right now on the WNY News Now mobile app. Follow local news as it happens.
The mother of a special education student at Maple Grove High School is speaking out.
And stay informed with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network.
And Lake Erie is covered in less than 1% of ice as this winter season has entered its peak.
Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, the pandemic is keeping you from seeing your family in person this Thanksgiving. Zoom is helping to make your holiday a little bit brighter. The video conferencing app is giving away free unlimited video calls for Turkey Day. Now, normally a Zoom call is restricted to just 40 minutes unless you pay a minimum of $15 a month. But in something to be thankful for, Zoom is free for everyone on Thursday, November 26th. So your family doesn't have to necessarily gather in person. So far, Zoom's video conferencing competitors haven't announced whether they won't match that Thanksgiving offer. WebEx's free plan clocks out at 50 minutes, while Google Meets limits you to just an hour. Now, talking to your loved ones on a holiday is one case where Zoom fatigue definitely doesn't apply. Certainly, a lot of people meeting over Zoom, a lot of schooling happening over Zoom even now, and it just seems like that's something we're used to, we're getting used to, and you know, the technology isn't that bad. It actually works out pretty well most of the time. I was on a Zoom this morning, and it connects people where normally if you'd have to travel for a certain distance or what have you, where now you can be in one place and just, you know, connect still, nevertheless. I don't know. Let us know what you think about in the comments below if you're going to be getting together. Dakota, my family's still having a very limited get-together this Thanksgiving. You know, social distancing, masks, and the like. So we're still planning on that at this point. You know, it's still a week away. I think that's the biggest thing, is people are taking this kind of a day at a time, especially as we head into winter.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, it's like, I think the holidays, you know, kind of around the Hunter palatial estate are not going to be anything different. I mean, nobody usually comes over, so it'll probably just be us, which is fine, which means we don't have to, which means, you know, my dad doesn't have to cook as much food, and that means more food for the rest of us.
Right. Make sure he can send some my way. I love it.
I know.
But it's like,
we'll pack it up and we'll give you a care package.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you're with your immediate family anyways, I mean, it's usually doesn't change. You know, if you live in a household or something like that, or, you know, if I go visit my parents, you know, and don't really come in contact with that many people, you know, and when you're wearing the masks and social distancing and things like that, I think that's where officials say, you know what, it's okay as long as you follow the precautions.
So basically, the bottom line is just don't have like a big Christmas vacation thing and invite both sides of the family. And
no Cousin Eddie this year.
Yes, exactly. Cutting down, you know, a Christmas tree, putting it on the roof of your station wagon, finding a squirrel in there. Where's Eddie? He usually eats these things.
In fact, I want to watch that. I want to watch that tonight.
Oh, that's a great movie any time of the year. I love that movie.
All right, Dakota, absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this live look over downtown Jimmytown. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. We're back here tomorrow. Hope to see you then.